Uncluttered and Unfiltered is brought to you in part by our latest obsession, pain cakes. Pain cakes are the revolutionary cold pack that stick to you so you can stick to your routine. Whether you're pounding the pavement as a runner like me or you're tackling the clutter as a professional organizer like Christine, Pain Cakes has got you covered. Pain Cakes comes in 3 sizes and can be used again and again. We both keep them in our freezers, and when we feel an ache or a pain, you just stick them on your body. You can do it 100 times. It's all the benefits of using a cold pack, but no downtime. Find Pain Cakes at pain-cakes.com or at thousands of retailers nationwide.
Welcome to Uncluttered and Unfiltered, the podcast urging you to let it go and don't look back, with nationally acclaimed professional organizer Christine Stone and self-proclaimed hot damn mess radio and TV personality Eden Kendall.
Welcome, everybody, to Uncluttered and Unfiltered with Eden and Christine. And in this episode, we're going to frame this in a way that sounds like it's only for a certain part of the population, but in actuality, it really isn't. So if we were to talk to you about tips for staging your home to sell it, you might think, well, my house isn't on the market, so I'm just going to move on along. But really what we're going to talk about are things that are going to help you live your best life, no matter if you're planning to stay where you live forever and ever. It's just that this is also going to be incredibly helpful if you are somebody that's planning to one day sell your home.
Or improve the space that you live in right now, bringing it to a peaceful, calm state so that at the end of the day, you can't wait to get home into your own house.
That's where the organizational piece comes in. But the things we're going to talk about really cover so much more than that. And this first story that you came across, and you're going to see how this relates in just a moment. But this first story, it made me so sad because even though I was not a huge fan of Shannon Doherty when she was in the news a lot for maybe being kind of a troublemaker on Beverly Hills 90210 and on Charmed.
I always loved her.
I think she's been so incredibly gracious lately in the way that she has been dealing with her breast cancer diagnosis, and she was re-diagnosed recently and has gone through even more treatments and has been really speaking out about how it has affected her on her daily life.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about this article you came across.
So I came across this article, and although it is sad, to me, it really shows the truth of reality when you're living in it, and she's living in it. And so I was reading that she wanted to make life easier for her mother. And that is something people don't realize when they leave a mess for somebody else to clean up after they pass away. It's even more stressful than losing her daughter, is leaving all, like she said, 4 storage units full of furniture, a property that she had that was a farm that she had intended to raise horses and renovate it, and her mom was going to live in. I mean, she was like, I don't want to leave her with all of this to take care of on her own. And I think that's why the story really caught my eye, because she's doing a thoughtless, being very thoughtful for her mom, to help her mom through this while she's alive.
So here's what she said. This is the quote. Because it's going to be so hard on her, I want other things to be a lot easier. I don't want her to have a bunch of stuff to deal with. I don't want her to have 4 storage units filled with furniture. She's 52 years old, by the way. So she said she's collected over the years things for just in case, but now it's time for her to think about getting rid of them.
Yes. And her mom went with her to the place she had in Tennessee. And she was so upset, not her mother, Shannon, that her mom said, let's take a breather. You don't have to sell this right now. And she said, and I'm going to quote this because I thought it was so great, that she had an epiphany while she was there, realizing her dream was a stupid idea because of how much it would cost her to renovate the property. She said letting go was the right thing to do, knowing it would bring her a sense of peace. And that's what I love.
What she wanted to do with that property was to have like a foster for horses.
Yes.
She wanted to have a horse rescue on that property. And so for years and years, and this is how we can apply this to our lives. For years and years, she's saying, I'm going to do this one day. I'm going to do this one day. She holds on. And then she said, I don't have to abandon the whole idea completely. I can help other rescues that are already doing this. I can get involved with these other rescues, but I have to let go of this giant, very work intensive, very expensive idea I have because of the situation I'm in. So she got real with herself.
Yes.
She got real with her dreams.
Yep.
And she basically let it go.
Yes. And she says through the process, she has learned her belongings don't bring her as much joy as making memories with her mom and her loved ones. Well, she has a different outlook on life because of the hand she's been dealt. But if people kind of lived that way, even if they're not dealt a bad hand, it would really give them the space in their home for a peaceful space while they're living in it. And once they're gone, not leaving a big mess for someone else to clean up. So I was very, very impressed by her.
Yeah,
she's doing an amazing thing for her mother.
That is so impressive. The other article, we're not going to get too deeply into this, but you had another article too about boomers who were saying, I'm sorry, not boomers, but boomers being told. Oh no, it is the boomers, because the boomers are the one who are saying this to their parents who are like in their 80s.
Yes.
We don't want to hold on to all of your stuff either. Please don't leave us all of this stuff. So in one of these articles, by the way, that was from page 6, the one from Shannon Doherty, and from Upworthy.com. There was a whole article about this. And those am I the a-hole scenarios that you can come across when people give you a scenario and they want to know if they're the ones that are the problem. So this is, am I the problem? My wife has had it with my mother-in-law thinking that we are going to preserve all of her possessions like a museum. 4 adult kids who were all home at Easter. Mother-in-law said each of them should pick one of the 4 different sets of china. 4 sets of china.
My mom has 4 sets of china.
Really?
Yeah.
That they want to inherit. Everyone said no. The mother-in-law got all flustered because no one wanted her memories. My wife pointed out that they haven't been out of the cabinet in at least 30 years. And we were all here celebrating and using everyday plates. The mother-in-law tried to lie and say, well, I use them at Christmas. The wife lost it and reminded her that we have been at every family gathering for decades. Those plates have never been used, and she's going to use them as Frisbees once she dies. Another great memory tied to the family china.
Yes.
So, maybe just graciously accept the china at that point. I don't know, but I get it. What they're saying is nobody wants, hey, everybody choose which china you want.
Well, I also think that you have to look at people's living situations. You want them to take, 2 sets of your china and they're living in a 1-bedroom apartment.
Right.
It's just not going to happen.
Right.
So, you could take it and see the value of it and sell it and get money from it and buy something that you really need or just have been eyeing, or you can donate it. And that's the problem, is people keep things for 30 years in a cabinet that they never use. It's like you're in a museum. It's just not practical anymore. It's not the days of the time where everyone, even nowadays, people don't get good china very rarely, or crystal or silver for wedding gifts anymore. They want something they can throw in the dishwasher and, that's it. So for me, I do use my china because I only have 1 set and, but I only use it at Thanksgiving or Christmas. Other than that, I prefer not to, just because I don't want to hand wash.
I use my china because my grandmother, when she gave it to me, even though it's beautiful and it has gold edging and everything, she said, I want you to throw this in the dishwasher. I want you to use it. Don't save it for special occasions. Just use it. So we don't use it every day, but we definitely use it for anytime the whole family is having dinner together. I use it. It's pretty fancy for some of the occasions we use it for, but we use it. But you also gave me some great advice too, that if I wasn't going to use it, I could use maybe 1 piece and put jewelry in it, or just do something, put 1 piece out and then get rid of the rest if I needed to. So I could preserve the memory of it and also pass it along to somebody who will use it.
Or keep the serving pieces, just keep those pieces and then maybe do everyday plates that go with it, but that can be put in the dishwasher. You know what I mean? You can mix and match and it'll still look great, but keeping a whole entire, and back then they had like place settings for 18.
Oh yeah. And ramekins.
Right. They had the teapot, you know what I mean?
And for afterwards, you could have the coffee and the saucers.
And the cordials. And you're like, what? So it's just not realistic nowadays. And you can't get your feelings hurt when people don't want it.
Exactly. So take us through a little bit about ways that we can not only be sure that our homes are in a place where maybe we could sell them for the sake of, marketing our homes, but also just so that we all could come home to a home that makes us feel peaceful and happy.
Yeah. Now I work for a lot of realtors, and I also in my own clients' houses, even if they're beginning to think about selling their house, they're not selling it, it's not on the market, but they're really, really thinking about it. That's when I go in and help make lists of what we need to do before you do anything. You have to make lists. Mm-hmm. And I like to say going room to room to room, and don't try to do the whole house. You take each room, go in it. Okay, this is a guest room. I have so much junk in that closet. I'm going to get rid of it. So the first thing you're going to hear me say over and over is finally purge and let go of the items that you don't want to bring to your new house, your new smaller space, or to your new home. A lot of people don't want to bring a bunch of junk to their new home.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Yep. Would you start in the room that's most likely to have the most stuff or the least likely?
Uncluttered and Unfiltered is brought to you in part by Hearts for Minds. Hearts for Minds is encouraging you to use your sidewalk to motivate others for Mental Health Awareness Month. Help break down the stigma of mental illness, spark conversation, and maybe just make somebody's day a little sweeter. It's easy. Grab some chalk and write inspirational messages and pictures on your sidewalk. Snap a photo and share it online by tagging Hearts for Minds on Instagram. And use the hashtag #ChalkItUpForLife. That's chalk it up, the number 4, and life. Let's chalk it up for mental health. Visit Hearts for Minds, that's Hearts, the number 4, and Minds.org to learn more.
I would start with the least likely, only because I think you need to get your ducks in a row. Where's it going? Is it going to be a donation pickup? Is your Aunt Susie going to come over and pick it up? So I always say, get your ducks in a row, because if you don't have any place to put it, it's going to sit in your living room, right? And you really don't want that either. So you want to schedule a donation pickup, or if you're going to consign items, get the consignment company to come over, or whatever way you're going to get rid of the items. Mm-hmm. And I think it's best start early and start least to most, because you'll get burnt out very quickly.
So from the moment somebody in your family says, one of these days, I'd love us to move to such and such, that's the day that, regardless of where that conversation leads, that's the day you're like, well, we better start purging immediately.
Yes, because I see people in panic mode.
Yeah.
So I go in and they're leaving in a week.
Yeah,
and so I have to really work my magic, which is I have my ducks in a row so that everything disappears in one day. But it would be easier, especially if you're not hiring a professional organizer, to do this yourself. You really, really want to have your ducks in a row. If your kids are taking some of the stuff, use your Post-it notes, put different colors on different items, and put the people's names on it. They have a certain amount of time to pick it up, meaning your kids. And if they don't pick it up, then it's going. And it seems like harsh, but you'll see as it gets closer to moving date, you'll be moving all that stuff into your new smaller space if you're downsizing, and there won't be anywhere to put it. And then your house is going to become a storage unit. The new space you've been dreaming about and envisioning becomes a storage unit.
Mm-hmm. And you'll never be all unpacked, because you'll have boxes full of things that you never meant to bring in the first place.
Exactly. And make sure you label every thing that goes into a bin or a box. It just makes it so easy, because someone may not be able to come for a couple weeks, and you can stack up the box and you'll say, oh, they'll come. Oh, it's already labeled. Here you go. Bye. You you need to really be organized to start this process, because the more stuff sits around that you don't want, the more it gets picked through. How can you give Aunt Jenny's, such and such a way? Kids start picking through stuff. Your husband starts picking through stuff, and you've already made up your mind what's going. So you want a game plan of get it out as soon as possible.
Okay.
The next thing is, and it doesn't go in order, but curb appeal. I mean, if you're looking to have someone come and see your house, you don't want dead grass, dead plants. You want to see reasonably how you can fix this to make this look appealing from the curb. I find that very important for me because I'm all about curb appeal. And people, sod's expensive, plants are expensive. Hiring someone to do all that can be very expensive. So it's something you really want to think about and maybe do it in stages before you put your house on the market, or just have a good clean out. Hire someone to come and just really do a major clean out and make the curb appeal really, really enticing.
Sure.
The next thing is natural light. If you have natural light, but you're covering it, take the window shades off, remove the dated curtains, because having natural light is so important in a house. I think a lot of people realize, especially when you live up in the places that have winter, it gets depressing if you don't have beautiful natural light. And a lot of people cover that up with window treatments and curtains. So I'm not saying remove all the window treatments off the windows, but at least open them and let all the natural light come into your house. It's really a thing buyers look for.
That, in addition to that, it can be just an immediate mood enhancer.
Yep.
If you've been noticing that you're a little bit down in the dumps, and this works on me because we have light blocking window treatment in our bedroom because the neighbors have a bright light, security light. So I've noticed that sometimes we forget in the morning or they'll stay shut. And I'll get home and let me tell you, it is a mood enhancer to just let that light pour into your home. So you may be so used to having these blinds drawn that you don't even realize.
And also, I think people don't realize that natural light, especially like I live at the beach. So the first thing I do when I come home, there is no windows covered. Everything is open and bright because I feel like when it's night, it's dark. When it's morning time, it's bright. And you want people who are coming into your house to go, God, this is so nice and bright. And you know what I mean? It just has a way about making people really want to live in your home that's so nice and bright. Mm-hmm. So the next thing is lighting in general. Sure. Now, this is where your notepad comes in. Do I need a new ceiling fan? Because this one is so dated. It stems back to the early 80s. There are so many great new ceiling fans at Lowe's, Home Depot. You don't have to buy something super expensive. And they look amazing, like amazing. So make sure you go through and say, how much would it cost to go to one of these stores and just redo some of my lighting? Is the bathroom lighting terrible? Women notice bathroom lighting. Is the closet lighting non-existent? You don't want someone to open up your closet and go, it's so dark in here. It looks tiny because it's so dark. You want to enhance any kind of light, natural and otherwise, and also update it, because even though you're like, well, they'll probably put their own lighting in, they don't sometimes. And it just gives it that bit of, oh, it's a little updated in here instead of, oh, I have so much work to do in here.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Just that one little thing.
Yes.
Sure.
So the next thing is neutral colors. If you're leaving, the best thing you could do is a fresh coat of paint and keep it in neutral colors. Do not paint a brown wall, a red wall, a polka dot wall, thinking someone else is going to love it as much as you. Trust me, they won't. Okay.
Right.
So I'm not saying if you're not moving, if that's what you like, very bright colors or dark colors, that's because you're not moving. But if you are moving, that's an immediate thing I would say to do is paint your walls a neutral color. It immediately brightens up small spaces, larger homes, immediately makes it feel clean and bright. So that is super, super important.
Okay.
The next thing is create storage. If you don't have storage, you got to create it. So if there's a place to put a credenza, you know what I mean? Like you're creating storage in a closet or in a living room so that they feel there is storage, even though there really isn't. They can envision themselves. Oh, well, look, I could put a credenza there too, or a bookcase with doors underneath, or a linen closet that can double as something. You want to create storage if you don't have it.
We went, when we were house shopping, we saw a home that had a rolling rack of clothes in the bedroom. And I thought, what do I know before I even look? That there is no closet space in this house.
Yes, exactly. So that's another thing. You have to live with what you have. I always tell people, they'll say, oh, how can I do this with that? You can't sometimes, and you have to accept it, but you can always improve in the storage in any closet, anywhere. I don't care what anyone says.
Vertical space,
the back of doors, underneath the sink using stackable drawers. You want them to open up cabinets and closets and envision what their life would be like in your house. The next thing is plants. Now, I'm going to talk about two different kinds of plants. Nowadays, they have really, 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 really great fake plants. But a majority of people don't have really, 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 really great fake plants. They are dusty plants. They look bad. They're dated. They're sitting up on top of, cabinets in the kitchen. I say let go of all the fake plants. Bring in some real greenery. Go to Trader Joe's and get an orchid or some fresh flowers and put them in a vase. Make the space feel calm and peaceful, and get rid of the distracting items in your house. And fake plants, if they are not really, really good fake plants, are very distracting. I know you don't think so, but I am telling you, that's the first thing when I go into someone's house. If it's a really old dated house, that I say we need to, and I've taken pictures of garage full of fake plants. I mean, full, like it was unbelievable. And so it was a thing in the 80s, even early 90s, but then it kind of came out and people were like, I'll just go to Whole Foods or Trader Joe's and get some beautiful fresh plants or flowers.
I haven't had a fake plant in many, many years, but the reason I got rid of them is because our mutual friend, Jen, who is a designer, told me anything but a fake orchid is not allowed.
Yes. And I totally agree, because people don't dust their fake plants.
She goes, I'll allow an orchid.
Yes.
A fake orchid.
Yeah. And dust it.
But I think, but truly, dust it. But you got to dust your regular plants too.
Yeah. I mean, but if you are about to put your house in the market,
you have
just
to be careful.
Weekly get some fresh flowers, have a live orchid in a plant, and just call it a day. And if you have a realtor, if you're using a realtor, they have a lot of the staging items in a storage unit themselves, so they can come and stage your house, and they'll help you. They'll help you how to make it look more homey.
But here's the thing, and we said at the beginning of this that some of these are tips not just to sell your home, but to make your home more peaceful. So if you're doing all of these things, you're taking the time and the effort to do all of these things. Why not do them just for yourself?
Yes.
Get yourself some nice greenery. Get yourself some fresh flowers. Occasionally, it may not be every time you go grocery shopping, but if every now and again you want to treat yourself to some fresh flowers, you deserve it. You don't have to be selling your house.
I get them at Publix. I mean, It just makes me feel better when I am standing at my sink. I keep them to the right, and every time I look at them, it just brings a smile to my face. Yeah. I mean, you don't have to spend a lot of money. You can get them at the grocery store, but it just makes the house feel really homey and lived in. Another thing is bathrooms. We're going to talk about bathrooms. That is another area. Let's look. Is the toilet paper holder broken? Do you need a shelf in there? Do you need to clear out all the junk underneath your cabinet? Are your time to thin out the drawers and really look what's in there? The bathroom and the kitchen are two big selling points in a house. And that's why it's important to get it really clean and thinned out, because that is one place. The minute you leave, they're going to be looking through everything, because that's where you live a lot, is in a bathroom and in a kitchen. And so that it's really important to, if you don't have a lot of storage, getting an etagere and putting towels on it with a little plant on top, something to add storage. Can you add shelving in the bathroom and, put your makeup brushes and perfume bottles, something to make it look more full of storage for somebody else who can envision it, or if you're not moving, for yourself.
Well, that's the thing when you say for yourself, because to me, I remember selling the house, doing all of these things, and then saying to myself, why didn't I make these improvements that I could enjoy so many years ago? So when you're listening to this, if you're thinking, all right, again, I say, I'm not selling my house, but if these are improvements you would make for the next guy, why don't you make them for yourself? Why don't you get a chance to enjoy these lovely little upgrades?
I agree. Even if you start small, like say this weekend, you say, okay, that's it. I'm doing the kitchen all weekend long. I'm just going to focus on the kitchen. Nowhere else, just the kitchen.
I think I'm going to do that this weekend.
And then grab some boxes or bags and start putting in utensils that you never use. Get rid of any corded appliance that you haven't used in years. Make sure you only keep the set of pots and pans, especially if you're an empty nester. You don't need 3 sets of pots and pans. You don't need 10 ice cream scoops. That's the thing. This is the time to really clean it out, purge, and create the kitchen for where you are in your life right now. So clean out the cupboards, get rid of broken, chipped bowls, glasses, and really make this space, whether you're selling it or not, a space that you cannot wait to come home to at the end of the day. You can do it. I have faith in everybody, and I'm dying to hear your feedback.
Yeah, and before and after pictures too. And if you're doing this because you're listing, send us your listing.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll buy your house. Just kidding.
No, I'm done buying houses.
But this is really informative. But again, I can't stress enough how I feel like we can take these tips and use them whether or not we or somebody we know are selling our homes. There's so many good nuggets in everything you just shared with us. I love it.
Walk in your house as if you're walking in as a buyer. So walk through the front door, and what is the first thing you see? For me, as an organizer, whether it's a lot of tchotchkes, I call them, going on everywhere, an abundance of items in the living room that can go, a kitchen that has clutter all over the counters, that's what you want to know that someone else is going to see. So you want to walk in your house as if you're a prospective buyer.
Love this. Very good stuff. All right, everybody. I mean, we could probably go on and on any of these kinds of subjects. This is a time where we don't do this that often, but I'm going to tell you, if you're not following Christine on her business page, Neatly Designed, you're missing out on some really great organizational content. So that's separate from this, Neatly Designed. And, it improves your life to be more organized. It's just a fact. Please do join us on our Uncluttered and Unfiltered Ladies Only page. That is a private Facebook group, and we will let you right on in when you request to join, as long as you are who you appear to be. And we also have all of the different social media ways for you to be a part of our community, Uncluttered and Unfiltered. If you leave us a review, if you can give us all the stars, that helps other people find us.
Yes.
So whether you're staying put in your home or whether you're ready to move on to your next big adventure, remember, you can let it go.
And don't look back.
Hi, it's Eden. Christine and I absolutely love bringing you Uncluttered and Unfiltered, the podcast for women over 50. For the first time, we're asking you for your help. A one-time or monthly donation from you will help us with production costs and help us grow this awesome community. Find a link to make a donation in our most recent show notes in our Uncluttered and Unfiltered Ladies Only Facebook group pinned to the top or on our Uncluttered and Unfiltered Facebook page. And in advance, thank you